You're swimming as hard as you can, swinging your arms, putting 100% effort into your training, and you still aren't seeing any PBs or you still can't hold a consistent pace, which is making you frustrated, but you know you're 100% committed and you're passionate about taking your swimming to the next level. And I'm going to show you step by step and feed you all the info that you need to improve your freestyle and so that you can swim more smooth and more effectively and efficiently. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down exactly how I can swim a freestyle, which allows me to hold a 57-second pace per 100 meters for 400 meters, and how I was able to go from not seeing a PB in 3 years to then qualifying for the Olympic Games and getting a gold medal. So at the moment, you're here, your catch position is the thing that we're going to focus on the most in this video, and how this can tremendously and really improve your freestyle. So you're here, we're going to go through my freestyle, kind of go through how I was able to get to this position. Seeing that one of my one-to-one members, Isabella, she came to me with the same problems with her freestyle, not catching enough water, getting tired and fatigued at the end of her races. In training, she wasn't able to keep up that speed and hold that pace. And just under 2 months, she's able to drop 5 seconds in the 200 meter freestyle. So that's the power of what I'm going to go through today in this video. And you're going to take so much information from this. And so just pay attention and really focus on what we're going to go over. We're going to have some examples of my freestyle. We're going to look on top of the water and below the water so that you can get a real good sense of what I'm trying to do to improve my freestyle and to be efficient and to allow me to hold a pace in training without getting tired as quickly. So we always want to lead with the elbow. We always want our hand entry in line with the shoulder and that relaxed recovery position. So what I mean by all this is, if we look at this video here, we slow it down. So when we're looking at this here, go full screen. As you can see, when my arm is coming out of the water, so obviously I'm coming out full extension here, really flicking my hand out of the water as quickly as possible. I'm leading with my elbow. So it's not my hand is coming out first and it's above my elbow. My elbow is always higher than my hand position. Again, I'm leading with the elbow. As you can see here, I'm not leading with my hand just yet. As soon as my hand passes my head, that's when then I lead with the hand and try enter my hand in line with my shoulder. So as we were talking about, a lot of people sometimes come over their midline when they're entering the water, or they're entering too wide. What we want to do is have our hand position in line with our shoulder position. And that relaxed recovery that I was talking about is here. This is called the relaxed recovery phase. We don't want to have too much tension when we're coming out of the water, because the tension and is through the catch phase rather than the actual recovery phase. And again, I'm entering with my hand. As we can see with the right arm, again, leading with this elbow. The elbow's the highest point. The elbow's the highest point here. And then my hand comes through when it passes my head. And again, in line with my shoulder with my hand entry, rather than coming towards the midline or coming out of that midline. Below the water, again, we're looking for that full arm extension to increase our distance per stroke and that rotation through your torso and hips. A lot of yous aren't rotating through your hips and the torso enough. You're only rotating through your shoulders. So you're almost just thrashing your arms around, thinking that you're going to go faster, instead of actually using your torso and using your hips to increase that power, increase that strength through that catch phase or through the recovery phase. And you got to think about a boxer. A boxer doesn't just punch with his arms. He punches and creates that power and strength from the hips. So he's able to propel his arm through his hips rather than just standing still and punching through his shoulders and his arms. And that's what you have to take through swimming as well, is we want to have that ability through our trunk rather than just through our shoulders. So what I mean by this is if we have a look here, we slow this down. As my arm comes, we're looking at my left arm here coming through. As you can see here, I'm really extending my arm. A lot of you, when you come to breathe, and we'll look at this after for some examples, when you're breathing and rotating your head, your arm has already dropped and you're catching the water too early. So you need to delay that by extending this arm by, again, through the hips and the torso. As you can see here, my hips are almost stacked upon each other. So I'm almost on my side. I'm not fully on my side, but I'm almost on that side. Whereas a lot of you, you're quite flat still in this position. So your hips are more parallel with each other rather than stacked upon each other. So you want to really create that momentum through the torso and the hips and the trunk in order to extend your arm further to get that distance per stroke. And that's how you increase your distance per stroke. And that's how, again, you increase your efficiency. Once you can start to take less strokes and go faster, you become more efficient. Again, when you're in this head position breathing, some of your arms and catch are already down here or even down here. And we'll look at this through the other examples from some of my members who are probably in the same situation as you. The actual catch position, obviously we want it at the top of the surface. We don't want to be dropping our elbow like I was saying. And we want to be bringing our hand towards the side of our body rather than towards our midline, because you're going to slip a lot of water if it comes towards your midline. So what I mean by this is if we have a look here, my arm is coming through and it's at the top of the surface. I'm already starting to catch the water by placing my hand towards the surface rather than placing it down here. Then as I have my head position coming down, so I've taken my breath and my head's about to look down at the bottom, that's when I start to actually catch the water and start to pull myself forward and then bringing the other arm in. So timing is super important for this too. And if we look at my left arm, you can see it's in this nice, lovely high elbow position. We don't want the elbow to be dropped for this to be a lot straighter, for example. And we don't want to have our hand coming towards our midline too much. A lot of us are bringing our hand almost like an S shape and then bring it really close to our hips or to the middle of our hips. And that just slips a lot of water in between here. So you want your hand to come directly past your hips as much as possible. And this is something I'm trying to work on a little bit more. But as you can see, I'm bringing it kind of towards my hips, which is fine. A lot of people bring it even further than this. What is important though is my elbows are still in this high position. It's always higher than my hand. I haven't dropped it and it's still in this right angle position. And then I obviously then bring it past my hips, past my body on the side, and then follow through with the next one then. Again, timing is super important here. What I mean by this is some people are breathing like this, but their hand is already down and it's already catching the water. So you're almost falling over your stroke and not extending this. You need to extend this and almost delay it a little bit more. Again, look at this rotation I've got in my hips and my torso. I'm not flat when I'm coming and extending. I'm almost on my side. And this is super important. A lot of people forget about this. They just rotate through their shoulders and not through the trunk. So the examples that I was talking about them through this dropped elbow. So if we look here, this is these are some of my members that when they first came to me, this is what they were looking like. And obviously now they've kind of fixed it a little bit better. What I mean by the drop shoulder is when we come here, as you can see, he's breathing and his arm's already dropped. So when we were looking at my example, when I was breathing, my hand and my arm were actually out extended still, whereas here it's dropped. So my shoulder, my hands were still here in that position, whereas he's dropped his arm, dropped his shoulder, and he's already catching. This then, look at the body position, puts you almost in like a banana shaped body position, whereas we want to be in a more streamlined position. So the timing of the breath needs to be a little bit earlier rather than keeping it very late, because as we can see, his other arm is almost coming over, and he's still on this, he's still almost breathing. So at this point, you know, this arm here needs to be up in this recovery phase. So this arm needs to be already about to come out, whereas at the moment it's not coming out yet, and the head position should already be looking at the floor. So this is what I mean by the timing, and the timing of your catch and the timing of your breathing needs to be a little bit more concise rather than having a lid, because at this moment it creates a lot of drag and a lot of dead speed. So at the moment he's not actually really moving forward anymore. Again, same kind of example with a different swimmer. As you can see, it's kind of the same concept as what we were talking about. All of my members, same again, same kind of mistake is he's breathing to the side here and his arm's already dropped. So it's very common, this, it's already dropped, whereas his arm needs to be still extended here. So his head's almost lying on the shoulder. At the moment, his shoulder is far away from his head position when he's breathing. We want to be able to rotate our head and almost lie on this shoulder, keeping it in front of us rather than having it dropped. Again, when this arm comes over, his head position should then be looking at the floor in neutral again, rather than still not breathing position. So it's a very common mistake, but it can be easily fixed, as once you now know exactly why it's a mistake and how you can then increase the length in your stroke. This video is kind of about the actual catch underwater. So this is another one of my members, Carlos, and when I was talking about the midline, as you can see here, his catch position, his hand is coming towards that midline and coming towards the hips, which means he's slipping a lot of water here. You want your arm to be, so the elbow is great position here, but you want to have your forearm and your hand a little bit more here, a little bit wider. So you want to have a wider angle catch position, because this is stronger. If you think about pressing your arm against a door, you're going to be a lot stronger in this kind of wider position rather than in here. If your hand was coming in here, it wouldn't be as strong to press against the wall. It'd be stronger out here. So this is what you need to focus on then when you're actually swimming too, is not having it come towards your hips, but coming past your body instead. He kind of fixes it here. So this is where the position should be originally, rather than in there. So he fixes it and then he presses past his body, which is what we want. And again, what we were talking about with the head position and the catch, he's breathing, but he's dropping his elbow and he's dropped all this. So this shoulder and this arm should be extended still to increase that distance per stroke. He's getting good rotation through here, so he needs to maximize this rotation by keeping this arm further extended rather than dropping it. So there's a real pattern here and a real common mistake, but it's something that can be easily fixed, and this will literally transform your freestyle, and this is what's going to make you more efficient. This is what's going to make you be able to hold a pace quickly, without, you know, getting out of breath as quickly, and, you know, swimming smoother, is by just focusing on the timing of the catch, the actual catch position, the head position when you're breathing. You know, if you can focus on these three things, then your freestyle will transform, and you'll see results like this, of dropping time in training and in racing. So that was just a quick video on the catch position in freestyle and how this is going to make you faster. Make sure to comment what your thoughts are, message me on Instagram if you need any more information, and I'll see you in the next video.